It's been a long 4 years coming, but the latest entry in the Legend of Zelda franchise is finally here, and it's on a new Nintendo console. So, is Breath of the Wild worth it? Let's find out. Within the first few minutes of its introduction, it becomes clear Breath of the Wild is a very different Zelda experience. Absent are the recognizable elements and tradition of the modern 3D era, replaced instead by a genuine feeling of curiosity and adventure. It's a world of rigid systems, juxtaposed by enticing open fields and skies. But Zelda rarely explains its rules for survival, allowing players to overcome seemingly impossible obstacles. It's these moments of discovery that make Breath of the Wild so special, creating a personal sense of responsibility and accomplishment, and one of the best experiences of the year so far. In the land of Hyrule, evil has already won. 100 years ago, the sinister force known as Calamity Ganon descended upon the royal castle, defeating each of the nation's champion defenders in his path of destruction. Awaking after a century-long slumber, the legendary hero Link must reunite the four divine beasts to vanquish Ganon's power and free the Princess Zelda. Breath of the Wild's story is easily its weakest element. After a lengthy expositional cutscene, Link simply sets off to complete his list of objectives. There's no twists or turns, no surprises or shocks, just places to go and things to do which go exactly as planned. At the very least, there are dozens of charming supporting characters, each with their own odd quirks and warm personalities, but these surface-level traits can't make up for the narrative's anemic development, and with a mute protagonist plagued by amnesia, there's little for the audience to latch onto. But this does encourage players to create their own tale through the enormous open world. Breath of the Wild is best played at a leisure pace, embracing distractions, long detours, and accidental adventures. Hyrule is a wonderland of secrets, tucked beneath seemingly normal surroundings, and it's the knowledge that not all is what it seems that makes exploration so enthralling. Breath of the Wild features the most vertical rendition of Hyrule yet, with vast cliffsides and towers to scale. This too is surprisingly engaging. Link's stamina bar restricts prolonged athletic actions such as sprinting, swimming, and climbing, requiring careful management and environmental awareness. Reaching flatland genuinely feels like an accomplishment, and the chance to fly through the air with the paraglider afterwards is all the more satisfying. But the ability to advance is largely dictated by the ever-changing weather conditions. Rain-slicked mountains cause Link to slide while climbing. Visible metal weapons attract harmful lightning during thunderstorms. In some cases, the atmosphere becomes colder as the altitude increases, requiring proper outfits. There's always a consequence to every natural circumstance, emphasizing preparation to adapt. The journey is just as challenging and compelling as the destination. Hyrule is brimming with wildlife. There are bugs to collect, horses to tame, and hours of side quests. These activities are never displayed with checkpoints, forcing players to compare cryptic hints with previously discovered map locations. By all accounts, this should be discouraging, but Zelda maintains its allure of chaos with brilliant level design and pacing inside an open world. Looking back on my 40-hour playthrough, these moments deliver the promise of a grand adventure. The more linear objectives largely play out in elaborate puzzle rooms. Early on, Link gains several diverse abilities to interact with surrounding objects, which play a heavy role in the dozens of trial shrines and 4 Divine Beast sections. While not all that challenging, these moments require a close eye for detail and opportunity. Even then, it's just good fun to swing around metal boxes with magnets or freeze objects in motion. Yes, most of the signature items of the series past are missing. In fact, nearly everything beyond outfits is completely disposable. There's no better example of this than Breath of the Wild's combat. Every spear, sword, shield, and bow comes with limited durability, with many shattering after only several hits, making the constant acquisition of new weapons mandatory for survival. While frustrating at first, this added chaos invites evolving strategies when facing off against Ganon's monstrous allies. Enemies can easily be dispatched with proper dodging, which results in a slew of free attacks, but receiving a single strike can end Link's adventure in an instant. Cautiously balancing aggressive bows and defensive deflections keeps every battle tense. Even the Nintendo Switch's motion controls for arrow aiming work remarkably well, and became my preferred method in fast-paced scenarios. Sadly, combat doesn't always mesh well within the open world, as wasting powerful weapon strikes on lower enemies for meager rewards rarely pays off. Enemy types are also disappointingly slim, with only a handful of unique creatures that are then reused as skeletons and stronger varieties. Still, crushing an imposing foe is enjoyable, but these roaming opponents are hardly an issue when compared against the infuriatingly difficult boss fights. Here, players will be pushed to their limit, as Ganon's spiritual representatives will effortlessly bat away Link's feeble attempts. At one point, I spent nearly 90 minutes attempting to overcome a single boss. Frankly, I was fairly upset after my 8th loss, but memorizing patterns and planning out my approach created a strong sense of accomplishment. Though my later boss encounters took far less time to complete, I learned to prepare in advance by collecting powerful weapons and cooking potent stat-boosting potions with rare ingredients. Whether through pure aggression or thoughtful anticipation, bosses demand a fair chunk of time. There are no easy victories in Breath of the Wild. It's just a shame the graphics never match Zelda's artistic ambition. Characters and towns are thoughtfully designed and delightful in their whimsical nature, but it's obvious Breath of the Wild is pushing against the Switch's hardware limitations. There are downright ugly moments of heavily compressed textures dominating the majority of the screen. To avoid spoilers, I won't show this clip, but there was a late-game cutscene that resembled decade-old CG. Then there's the constant performance issues. Throughout the campaign, I encountered a series of rough patches that brought the action to a full stop. Considering the modest visuals on display, these frame rate fluctuations occur far too regularly. But the saving grace of Zelda's presentation is its fully orchestrated music. Piano, strings, and drums bounce from uneasy struggles to mellow journeys. Though purely centered around Link's current activities, the soundtrack still provides plenty of charming melodies and rhythmic earworms. So, is it worth it? Yes. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a fully realized epic, not only from its bombastic clashes with demonic adversaries, but also the calming treks across sunny fields. Hyrule strikes an excellent balance between dangerous landscapes and liberating skies, grueling battles, and thoughtful puzzles. Exploring the expansive open world usually results in sought-after weapons and enhanced abilities, but traversing into the unknown is absorbing by itself. Even all these hours later, with the Divine Beast restored, Ganon defeated, and the Master Sword recovered, Breath of the Wild still delivers a true sense of mystery. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is currently available on the Wii U and Nintendo Switch for $60. If you've had a chance to play it, let me know what you thought, and if you haven't, let me know if you plan on picking it up. My name is Colin Tanner, and I'll see you in the next video.